challenge going around on CosTube right now to make a costume in a day. And since I do most of my costumes by hand, I thought that was a great idea. An even better idea is to start it at 12:06 p.m. The dress I'm making is based on the 1790s bodice pattern that I drafted last year. This will be the third time I'm making this very same pattern, so hopefully that means it's been adjusted enough that we won't have any fitting issues. My fabric is a gorgeous but very slippery lutestring from Berlin Trowbridge, so to prevent any slipping as I'm marking and cutting the fabric, I'm pinning it to the workspace. Once again, I'm using a heat-sensitive pen for marking. It is my absolute favorite sewing tool apart from a needle and thread, so I'll link it down below. The technique I'm using to put my back pieces together is something that we don't really have a name for in the 18th century, although it is sometimes called the English stitch. Whatever you call it, once you get the hang of it, this stitch goes really quickly and has a really awesome result. You can probably see that I'm cutting about 3/8 of an inch away from the actual cutting line, and that's because the sleeve pattern does not fit me. Could I draft a new one? Sure. Will I? No. Shout out to Jenny LaFleur for randomly giving me this sleeve board one day. I love it. I will always feel like this method of lining sleeves is cheating, but it's accurate, and it's fun, and it's fast. Okay, so I'm exactly 2 hours in, and we're going to take a ride to Target because I can't go in, but I can sit in the car. So I'm gonna bring my sewing with me and be right back to it. Okay, so we're home from Target. While I was in the car watching everyone walk by without masks, without a care for anyone's safety, I managed to finish the front underbodice, and now I'm going to attach that to the back, and then we'll do a fitting. I try to leave my basting stitches in as long as possible in case I've missed some catastrophic error, but they do come out eventually, I promise. Okay, it's 5:02. That's about 5 hours after we started. Minus a brief trip to Target. The bodice is intact. The sleeves are completely sewn except for the hem, and so after I take a quick break to feed my family, I'm gonna come back and work on the over bodice, setting the sleeves, and the skirt. So, see you in a bit. I didn't bother to film the sleeve setting portion of this gown because I assumed there would be a lot of yelling and I didn't need that kind of stress in my life, but honestly it wasn't that bad. Pro tip, courtesy of Amber at Virgil's Fine Goods: safety pins. Time check, 7:45. So if we subtract the hour that I spent making sure my family is fed, that means we are just under 7 hours for today. Not finished, I'm gonna keep going. I just had to turn my light on because even though it's summer-ish and it's later, it's almost 8 o'clock, so time for the fantastic LED light that I have in my office. Anyway, what I'm doing right now is backstitching the sleeves. After that, the bodice is actually finished, technically. And then we can start draping the skirt and the front, which that should be fun because I don't actually know if I have enough fabric. We're gonna find out. I know, always have at least one spare camera battery, but honestly, this was my first day with this camera. I was not prepared. so I apologize. Instead, you get to see very shiny, overexposed photos of my hemming and finished bodice. After my camera turned back on, I had an absolute stroke of genius at around 1 o'clock in the morning where I took the basting stitches out of my pleats before I tacked them down to the shoulder strap. Why did I break my own rule? I don't know, but it definitely made this gown take a lot longer than necessary. Once I sorted out the pleats, I decided to go to bed before I made any more remarkable choices. The following morning, I only had a few things to do before the gown was finished. With 3 minutes to spare in a 24-hour period, the gown was finished. I tried to keep track of my sewing time as much as possible, but there were so many interruptions I can't say for sure how accurate this is. As far as I can tell, this gown took me about 12 hours and 30 minutes to finish. I really need to press this out. It's done. Do I love it? No, I did it. I'm really proud that I hand sewed a dress in under 12 hours, but if I had not done these pleaty bits, which I understand, they're pretty, it's a nice style, it just might not be the one for me, and that's fine. You know you love this little low-key fairy godmother thing going on. The point is, I did hand sew a dress in a day, and it is wearable, it is finished. Despite not being perfectly happy with the end result of this particular project, I can definitely see how this gown is a great base for the future. Once I sort out the neckline, I plan to cover it with spangles and lots of silver trim and bring it to its full potential. If you also have thread in your hair all the time, or if you enjoy this video, hit the subscribe button and see what kind of nonsense I get up to next time. Thanks for watching.